I made this model of a floating eyeball for a new game that I'm developing. Is he a weird little guy? Yes. Is he kind of gross? Also yes. Do I love him? Probably. Regardless, I'm proud of how he turned out, and I'm here to break down exactly how I made this, guy. I made a plan. I admit I could have done more planning than I did, but this was a decently simple model to make in terms of shapes and forms. My workflow looked like this. Create a low poly base in Maya, bring it into ZBrush to texture the high poly, export and retopologize the optical nerve in Maya, then ship it all off into Substance Painter to bake and texture. This shouldn't take too long, right? I started off with some form of block-in. There's no easy way around this. Missing this step means running the risk of having the wrong scale or making large form mistakes that are almost impossible to fix after you've put hours of time into the sculpt or model. Lucky for me, the block-in was a simple subdivided cube with a dent and a wonky cylinder. I originally was going to use Unreal Engine, which is why the UV5 mannequin is hanging out in Maya, but apparently I'm a sucker for punishment and have been spending too much time learning GDScript for Godot. As it turns out, when you use an open source and lightweight engine, things don't crash as often, and I feel better about myself when I code something and it actually works. I also feel better when my guests join the Domus today by knocking on the subscribe button. I hope you like sculpting because, oh boy, did this take the largest amount of time to do. With the beautiful low poly eyeball blocked in, it was time to block in the optical nerve. Wait, what? That doesn't even make sense. I already did that. That's right, I wanted the optical nerve to kind of wrap around the eye like it's giving it a hug from behind, so I had to continue with my blocking in. I didn't feel like fighting with Maya to get the shapes that I wanted, so I elected to throw hands with ZBrush. I suspect I saved a lot of time and frustration doing it this way. This must have been the last straw for my hair though, because when I started this project, I had hair, and now I'm bald. Weird. Anyways, I finally got to the fun part, the actual sculpting. My plan was simple. Take my low poly block in, add far too much geometry so I can add the details, and voila, model done. Unfortunately for me, that meant I had to lock in and spend an hour making the most intricate iris that I've ever done in my life. Who am I and who do I think I am? The audacity I had in thinking that this would be efficient is off the charts. It somehow worked out though, and made my hubris tell me that tiny veins and bloodshot eyes wouldn't be that much longer either. Well, guess what, me? It added another hour to a model that's effectively a ball with a string attached to it. Despite my tone, all these tiny details really added up to make this little guy something special. And you know what that means? It's time for everyone's favorite part of 3D work. I started the retopology process by throwing away anything I'd learned about how long things would take and assuming that this would be quick because it's not that complex. Tell that to the 2 hours of small fiddly work and the UV headache I was about to put myself through. Moral of the story, don't be optimistic about how long things take. Since retopology and UVs are incredibly boring, it's time for... Finally, after all the tedious and hard work, I got to see things start to pay off. I don't know if it's just me, but I really love seeing the final baked product before working on the textures. Just seeing how much detail can get slapped onto a flat surface and seeing how the light reacts is so satisfying to me. It's one of the many reasons why I really love working on trim sheets and textures. To stay in line with the theme of this project, I impatiently started by working on some of the base colors before remembering how to make things look good. So I scrapped the colors for now and started properly working with light values. This ensured that we can see the beautiful details and accentuate certain areas of the model before the rest of the details. With a combination of fill layers, a bunch of generators including light, position, dirt, and metal edge wear, and a healthy dose of trust the process, I had a value base that I was ready to use. Using a base of gradient filters and masking, the base tones for the whole model came together quickly. It really became a matter of really slowly layering colors, filters, and generators to make all of those little details pop. The last step was to go in and add some subtle hand-painted details. I used some brighter colors and added some highlights to really bring out the smaller details. After that, I started working on the rig and some animations. However, those are still very much a work in progress. Subscribe and let me know in the comments if you want to see the animations and rig once it's finished. And here we have the final product. Let me know in the comments if you want to see any of these pieces individually broken down in their own video. Thank you for visiting my domus. Please come back soon.